Yo, what's going on, everybody? We are Bike. What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? Real Talk with Rajon is once again live on a Monday. We don't normally do Mondays, but a topic came up, and me and one of the homies was talking about it, and I was like, you know what? Let's talk about it, man. Let's do it. So, with that being said, go ahead and share this out for my applause. I have applause now. Very excited about that. I went and downloaded an applause sound because I've been wanting to tell people congratulations. And now I have applause. I can applaud you. Thank you. Elliot Chavez, I see you, homie. What's going on? Thank you so much for joining us. I'm going to go ahead and share this out. We are live. We are live. What's up? What's up? What's up? Tonight I'm interviewing the homie Elvin. We're going to have some disagreements tonight, but it's going to be all in the name of speaking multiple perspectives to things. It's never a contentious thing. It's never a thing that's like a competition thing. It's all love. It's all friendship. He is legitimately a friend of mine. So I'm excited about this conversation. Um, I will say, he's become quite well known in these here streets for his work and advocacy. I definitely applaud him in his work. So tonight we're going to talk about it. Tonight we're going to get it in. We're going to talk about it. I want to know your thoughts. I want you to share this video out because this will be one to watch. You want to see this one for shiggity. Go ahead and share. Go ahead and share. I'm actually trying to share it on my page now. I'm actually waiting for Elvin to come back in as well. I hope everybody's having a good day. Say what's up. Say something. I know we'll get a chance to talk back to y'all because I'm like, because I'm normally like in the middle of the show, but I'd love to take this opportunity to just tell everybody thank you. Thank you for tuning in. You don't have to. You could be doing anything. Like I say that, and I know sometimes when I say it, it may sound like I'm being grand, but I'm not a grand dude. Like I really do. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your support, man. Because without y'all, it'd just be me talking to a camera by myself, and that would really suck. That would really suck. But y'all make it dope. Y'all make it worthwhile. Those who message me and then encourage me to speak about different topics. Thank you. You don't have to do that, but I greatly appreciate it. Those who, yeah, happy Monday. I see you, Big Cud. Signs to see. Y'all already know. You see the logo right here. I'm gonna definitely get to my reads. In fact, I need to pull up my script while I'm waiting for Elvin to come back in. Today is the day to be happy, man. Thank you. That's dope. Happy birthday to my brother. All right. Thank you, Miss Wickler. I appreciate it. Thank you. Again, support is always appreciated. I'm waiting for Elvin to come back in. He was in here and then he went to do something. I know he's coming right back. But we're about to talk about a lot of things. We got a lot of things to talk about tonight. This will not be the normal show where I come on and me and the people agree on everything. I happen to know because me and Elvin were talking before we went on air, and there's definitely some things that we're on the opposite sides of. So there will be some disagreement tonight, but nothing that is said. I want to go ahead and put it out there now. Nothing that will be said, nothing that will be expressed will be a sign of any division between me and Elvin, because that is my brother at the end of the day. I love him. I support him. We've been through too much together for any Facebook discussion to ever be something that separates us. So if you watch this tonight, it's like, yo, Rajon and Elvin hate each other. Like, nah, like we're actually genuinely friends in real life. Now, I don't know how much longer our friendship's gonna last if he continues to pause on this on delay on getting back inside here. But yeah, we're gonna have a real discussion tonight, man. We're really gonna get into it. Let me make sure he's good because he's normally a prompt dude. He was in here like literally 10 minutes ago, but he said he had to drop his truck, so I'm just waiting for him to come back in so we can get rolling. Let me call him because he may not realize that he's behind time. But thank y'all again for coming in. I really appreciate it. We are live. This is a live interview, and if you're watching on replay, skip ahead like a minute or so because Elvin will be back in and we'll be having a discussion. But I'm pretty sure right now he's like, I'm dropping off my truck. All right, you coming? All right, thanks, man. Bye. So yeah, that was Elvin. So he's coming back in. All right, cool. What's up? Let me say what's up to everybody in the yo. I don't often, like I said, I don't often get to do this. So if you're in the comments, if you're watching, please like shoot me a hello or something so I can say hi to you. I never get to thank the people who are watching because I'm normally so busy running the show. There's a lot of shows that have like a lot of different people who do stuff in the background. I don't like it's just me rolling with stuff. So I do the lights and I do the sound and I do the comments popping up and I do everything. So right now is a great time for me to just tell y'all hello back. So if you feel like, man, I always watching this dude, don't never say nothing to me, please say something so I can say something back to you. When's the next time Elvin, you and I are catching dinner? Yo, I'm with it whenever. Let me know. Let me know. I'm here for dinner. I like food. I am here for food. Thank you to everybody who's watching. Thank you to, as they say on the Joe Budden podcast. Thank you to my YouTube viewership. Thank you to my Spotify viewership. Thank you. Hey, thank you, Mr. Phillips. Shout out to David Phillips, man. Custom development solutions. I don't have a sponsor for them. Word for the day. The word for the day. Oh, we're doing giveaways. We're doing giveaways today? All right, word for the day is back to school. Back to school. All right, back to school. So the word for the day is back to school. There will be a giveaway. Shout out to science2c.com, www.science2c.com for all your custom design needs. I think last time we did t-shirts, so we're probably doing t-shirts again. Is that right, Big Cut? Science2c.com for all your custom design needs. Go to www.science2c.com. That's the number 2. Science the number 2 c.com. The word of the day. The phrase of the day, back to school, because that's what we're talking about in this interview with Elvin. Man, thank y'all for tuning in. And with that being said, let's get it rolling. I still have my script pulled up, so I'm slacking, but that's all right. I'm gonna close this out. Oh, we're about to get it. Again, science2c.com. Science2c.com. Yeah. And the word of the day is back to school. Back, the number two, school. You hear that, cuz? That's the word. All right. Oh, dang. E-V-E-R. Elvin just told me he was coming back in, and he's not back yet. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm sorry for the delay. I know this never happens. I like to start my interviews right on time. I'm actually 5 minutes behind time. Thank you, everybody who's tuning in. I appreciate it. Can I have my water out the refrigerator? And Elvin should be back. So I'm going to go ahead and get it rolling. Let's do it. Oh, he's back. Okay, cool. I see you, bro. I see you in the background. I got you. Give me 1 second. Let me do my intro music, and I got you. Thank you. All right. I'm going to go without the things. No, wrong music. Mic check 1 2 1 2. Hello, world, and welcome back to Real Talk with Rajon, when nothing's off limits. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you are here with me, and I appreciate that. I am your host, Rajon Lewis. Now, here on Real Talk with Rajon, everything's debatable, so on any given week, we can be discussing anything from sports to music to politics. You name it, we'll discuss it. Now, before I get started, I got to make sure I shout out my sponsors. Do you have any custom design needs where you need to go? Is your business struggling? Is your business struggling? Is your business struggling, having issues with advertising? Sounds like you need to go to www.science2c.com. Do you need business cards, t-shirts, banners, card decals, or magnets? You can find all of that and more at science2c.com. Let science2c.com be your one-stop shop for all your custom design needs. Their experience and professionalism is top-notch, and they are sure to fill your order in a timely manner. Today's science2c.com code word for your free item is going to be back to school. Back the number 2 school.com. And if you are interested in getting into a career in, if you're trying to get a career started in IT as an IT specialist, you need to go to Cyber Prep U. Cyber Prep U, that's cyberprepu.as.me. And with that being said, let's get to my guest because I'm excited about talking to my homeboy. Here on Real Talk with Rajon, we have a goal of shining a light on the great things that are happening right here in the Low Country. And today we have a very special guest, my homeboy, Mr. Elvin Speights Sr. Thank you for joining me, sir.
What's good, man? What's that?
You already know, man. You already know. You were the first person to get the applause, man. I've never given anybody applause before, man.
Shoot.
I'm going to roll it out for you one more time.
Yes, sir. Let me get that. Yes, sir. Always a pleasure to come talk with the homie, man. Always a pleasure to come talk with the homie.
All day. Man. So listen.
So
listen.
Go ahead. Rock it.
But so before we get into it, for those who don't know who you are, please introduce yourself to the audience.
All right. So I'm Elvin Speights. I am a local community activist.
Yep.
I won't even say if I said local now. I go wherever. But I'm out here, mentor, coach, father. I'm doing it all, everything I can, man. I'm also putting myself out here. I'm also running for the D10 Constituent Board in Charleston County.
All right.
So, you look for my name on the ballot of that. Anything to do with the kids, man, I'm on.
Absolutely, bro.
Follow up the legend like yourself.
Nah, not me. but so first of all, thank you for what you do. For like you said, Elvin is a coach. Elvin is a mentor. Elvin's a community activist. Elvin is currently running for the Charleston County Constituent Board, District 10. And so just to tee up the conversation, because he had to go out, he's coming back in. Tee up the conversation that we were having earlier, me and Elvin had made a post earlier where he was talking about something in regards to the COVID situation and how it applied to the back to school situation. So I wanted him to start right there. And before I said this before we came on camera, but I want to make sure that I say it again. Me and Elvin are friends in real life. So if me and Elvin are disagreeing, it's not because I hate Elvin or because Elvin hates me. We disagree on this thing.
Piggyback off that, I was talking to Brother Thomas Dixon today, and I said it's amazing where if two people disagree on an issue, all of a sudden they can't be friends no more. Nah.
Right.
We can't be friends no more because not because I did anything to you, not because you're a bad person, but he disagree. He didn't. Yeah, we disagree on this issue, so therefore I surely can't be friends. Listen, I'm gonna tell everybody I can't see the comments I'm driving, but hey, I'm sure you'll read them out. Listen, it's gonna be fire, man. Listen, we're gonna have a debate and the topic debate, whatever the case is, discussion. And it's not no personal feelings or nothing. No. This is just from both sides of the spectrum. Absolutely. You being a teacher, you're definitely going to speak from that side. Me being the essential worker, as you can see out here, I'm going to speak from this side issue in concerning schools and kids. So, with that being said, I made the post this morning, and basically what I was getting at is this, right? I'm an essential worker, and I've been out here since this COVID thing started, right? And me, just as well as many others, as your Walmart employees, your gas station employees, your food line employees, right? So I made it, and I did it on purpose, and I'm explaining why. So Rajon gave me the correct facts. So over 65% of your teachers in the United States, I realize now, are white. So it's a majority white-based field, right? 52% of your essential workers are black, or minority, not black, or minority. Mexican, black, whatever. You throw us all in there, minority. Okay? Yeah. So all of a sudden now, when school's supposed to start back in August, they realize that, hey, this isn't safe for no one to be out in. We don't need to go back to school. So my question was, when did you decide that? Because we've been out here since March. We've been out here since March. We could have very easily shut everything down for 2 weeks and took a break and try to take a slide in the COVID spike. But we were considered essential. Now, you know how I always felt in that. Essential to me meant expendable. You know what I'm saying? We weren't essential. We were expendable. Meaning, forget if one of us gets sick. We got kids at home too. You know what I'm saying? We got kids at home too. We got families at home too. But hey, it's okay if one of them gets sick and fall off. We can throw somebody else in their shoes. So go ahead. I'm gonna let you cook with it, brother. Go ahead.
No, so I definitely heard your I understand the point that you're making in regards to the fact that they're looking at And just to give a little more context, I know, and explaining it, you didn't fully go into, what your point of dispute was. It was about the fact that teachers don't seem to want to go back into the classroom, despite the fact that essential workers like yourself have had to work since this COVID epidemic really popped up, and everybody, a lot of places have gone to working from home or not going into their workplace. But people like you who do work in places that are considered essential workers have had to go in. So I want to give you a few points, right? One, let's talk about it from a teacher standpoint, right?
Okay.
So from a teacher standpoint, it's not the same as your job in many different reasons, in many different facets. All right. For one, when you get into your truck, it's you and your truck, right? You can wipe down your truck and you can make sure your truck is nice and sanitized and that it's COVID free, right? You get in your truck, you do your job. You control that. Now, of course, if you doing a dump truck, then you're handling things that may not be sanitary, so you have to make sure you're taking those steps. You also control that, right? If you're a teacher in a classroom, you go do everything that you're supposed to do. All right. So I'm just gonna keep rolling. You do everything that you're supposed to do as a teacher. You go out, you wipe down your classroom, you clean down your classroom. The custodians come in to make sure that your classroom is nice and clean and good to go. And then you come to the class on that day, and you know what they do? They send 30 kids from 30 different places into your room. 30 kids who you don't know have been sanitized, 30 kids who you don't know what their situation is, 30 kids who may come from a family that had COVID in that family, right? These are 30 kids from 30 different situations. Now expand that by the fact that most schools, I know the school that I was at, I believe had 40 to 50 different classrooms, each with 25 to 30 kids coming into a building. And you have to sanitize all those spaces to make sure that all those people are doing what they're supposed to do. Now, let's think about teachers, right? You have this teacher. Now, for you, if you drive your truck, right? You drive your truck, and if you get sick, somebody else will come drive your truck, I'd imagine. Somebody else can drive you out, right?
Of course.
That teacher gets sick, you got to send another teacher into that school. But guess what happens? Because that one kid went into that classroom, and it's now a COVID classroom, none of those 30 kids can come to class anymore. Now, expand that because that kid also ate in the cafeteria. All those kids who ate at those tables, they can't come to school anymore. They all can't come back until they get tested. So what's going to happen is they're going to open the schools up. They're going to send these kids back into that school, and in about 2 to 3 weeks tops, if it lasts 2 weeks, I'll be shocked. 2 to 3 weeks, they're going to be saying, "Oh, we got to shut the schools down."
True indeed, I can see that. All right, so let me go at like this, Active. See, me in the dump truck, you're right, because it's just me in the dump truck. But let's look at our gas station workers. Look at our Walmart employees, our Lowe's employees, okay?
Yep.
They just made face masks mandatory in certain counties. Yeah. Right? I think Goose Creek is the only one still where you don't have to have a face mask. Correct. If I believe so. Okay, so you take those employees, your gas station employees, they're the same thing. They may not be dealing with children, but they take in between 50 to 100 different customers a day, especially let's use a gas station worker.
I agree.
You're inside a building. You can't turn somebody away, regardless. If they walk into the store and they're coughing in their hand and whatever the case is, you can't turn them away. You have to deal with them. Go ahead. I'm gonna try because I'm gonna use a good sister friend of mine. You know her, Erica Coakley. Erica was forced to quit her job. She was forced to quit because her job had 3 to 4 people infected with COVID, but they still required to come to work. Now, Erica has, like all of them, they have families at home. I spoke out against ICO. I spoke out against the VA, who also, they had people infected with COVID, but they weren't giving nobody no time off. Those people were still required to come to work. Hey, they didn't care. If you were sick, stay home. Everybody else was required to show up. You know what I'm saying? And
I know. But I think that touches on a different issue, though. So that touches on the issue of like workplace ethics. That's a problem. That's workplace ethics can definitely be a problem, but that's a separate problem from the issue of COVID. Because I want to go back to that same situation.
It was COVID, though.
But it's the same situation, because let's look at it again. You have those people that work in a gas station, right? Now we know that people are in and out of that gas station, but again, you can take safety precautions. What do we see every place now? Those plexiglass walls. Everywhere you go, they got those. If I go to Walmart, I go to the gas station, I go to Chick-fil-A. Everybody got some kind of plexiglass wall that you got to stand behind when you deal with any employees. Like, you have to. And if somebody gets sick, they have to leave. Now you have to think about this part as well, right? If you are a worker who does not have a salaried job, you are not a salaried employee, how do you get paid?
Hourly.
How do you get paid, though?
If you're not a salary, you get paid by the hour. Going to work.
Coming into work.
Yeah, coming into work.
If you don't go into work, you can't get paid. And that's what a lot of the issues that people ran into when you're talking about the economy. There are people who are like, yo, I want to go to work. I will take whatever safety precautions you can give me, and I want to come into work. One, because I can't do my job from home. Now, I'm in a blessed situation where when the COVID thing happened, my job realized, okay, a lot of the stuff that we're coming into the office to do, we can do from our homes. So I've worked from home since late March, because I work from my computer. But nobody can, there's no remote control thing that you can use to drive the truck through these here streets to get to make sure that, because those are things that need to happen. But if my job didn't have a situation where I could work from home, I'd be doing everything I could to get into the office, because that's how I get paid. That's how I pay my bills. That's how I buy food. That's how I do all of these things that are so important for me to do. So it's definitely a different situation in regard to that. I think when you talk about teaching is not really something you can compare to almost any career, career. Like it's in so many different facets. And you know, because I just came from the classroom. There's so many things.
And you know, I got mad respect for teachers. You know, I'm a big teacher advocate. So I want everybody to understand that. Mad respect for teachers. I'll go for teachers anything. So then let me ask the question. On the desk, they're supposed to have the plexiglass on the desk and every student wearing a mask. Is that not the same precautions as your Walmart employees have to take, as your gas station employees? Is there any difference?
You're not required to have the amount of interaction with customers that teachers are required to have with students.
So here's the problem. And here's the problem. You know, I've been on all sides of the spectrum. I've been all over with this, right?
Yeah.
I have no problem with the learning from home. I have no problem with it. But the reason why they have to open the schools is because in the rural areas, Sister Taisha's been screaming it forever. They're not getting signal. And I've spoken to people from Baptist Hill, that's in Charleston County. They're not getting a good signal, no Wi-Fi. Everyone doesn't have the capability to log on to school remotely. So their only hope of getting their child educated is to send their child to school. The child has to. And on top of that, a lot of children aren't learning at home. What I think this should have opened up a lot of people's eyes to is how important contact with teachers are. How many parents, and you're a teacher, so you wouldn't have that problem because you're a teacher. But I can tell you now, I had to call you to help you explain to my daughter how to do the algebra. You see what I'm saying? I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. So, everybody doesn't know Rajon personally, where they can call Rajon and say, hey, brother, I need you to help me. You know what I'm saying? So y'all all right, teachers. So I want, you have to put those things in perspective when you think about it. Yeah, of course, I don't want nobody to get sick, and I don't want to sacrifice no children. I'm a father myself. You know what I'm saying? My children too have to go back to school in August. They've been summoned to go. But what else do we have? We're the only way I see it is we have to make the schools as safe as possible. I have no problem with the mask. Put a mask on every child. Okay. If we want to do gloves all day, we can do gloves. Hold on, brother. Hold on. All right, let me leave and come right back.
All right, this guy's so popular, man. So what we're talking about, thank you once again, thank you to everybody who's watching. This is the Real Talk with Rajon Local Celebrity Spotlight with Elvin Speights Jr., Senior, Junior's his son, and we're talking about several things in the community going on in regards to school reopening, in regards to COVID, in regards to his run for the student for the student constituency board for Charleston County School District. So yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
All right, so we have to look at it as we have to make sure that education is accessible for everybody, is what I'm saying. And And for me, exactly, and I can speak for me and other essential workers. You know, it's you know, we respect teachers. There's no knocking teachers at all. But you can't expect us to have so much remorse when we're out here. The very same things that they give us, that they tell us are going to protect us, you know, it has to work for the students and teachers as well. It has to, because these kids have to learn. What's the alternative? Shut down school for how many years? For another whole year? You see what I'm saying?
I don't think that's the solution.
Yeah, exactly. That's not going to work. And we've already shown that we can't do the remote learning. The remote learning didn't work. You know, I've spoken to a lot of parents, hit me up in the inbox, because you saw Charleston County release a statement saying that over 50% of the parents voted to have their child go back to school. Now, we know in that mixture, you know, you got the parents who's going to be, some of the parents are going to be, hey, I'm tired of little Billy ass, get his behind back on the bus. But I've spoken to a lot of parents who hit me in the inbox and just was like, look, like myself, hey man, I couldn't explain it. Yeah. I couldn't do it. I didn't know how to do it. And the only way my child's going to learn is if he's going to school with someone that's professionally trained teacher. So, you know, and also on another side, you know, I've been following what DSS said. Right now, I think correct me if I'm wrong, I believe it was 16,000 children across the county that they can't account for, where, you know, if a child doesn't come to school Monday and Tuesday, then you know something's wrong. Yeah. Well, if you don't have that interaction at school, that's one of the biggest signs to let teachers and people know that something's going on with this child. And you know that, you know, you can tell. So if we don't have that, that's dangerous for some children.
I agree. You know, I agree.
You know what I'm saying? So it's a lot into it. And speaking for the children in North Charleston as well, you know, I've been out there with the Burns and stuff years back. A lot of these kids, that's where they got a lot of their meals from. A lot, you know, some of these kids live in hotels, and that's where their meals came from. If they couldn't go to school and get breakfast, lunch, and the school would send home a dinner, these kids wasn't eating.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
I think that's a great point. I think that's a great point. I think that's the undersold point. I do want to make sure that I do harp on the fact that if you send out a survey to parents, most of them going to say they want the kids to go to school. I said no. In DD2, I said no, because I am a teacher, and I know the types of situations that kids walk into schools from. As somebody who, like, you talk about, like, COVID clean, like there's some bad situations without putting people's business out there. There are so many bad situations that these kids are and just like, so that's why I said, if school opens, if they reopen these buildings, if it stays open 2 weeks, I'll be shocked. Now, what can we do? What can we do in place of that? I think is the question. One, I think that there needs to be a more consistent check-in system that makes sure that either, whether it be that you know, based on the areas, teachers can drive around or something like that, like something to where, okay, let's all meet. If this is the region, we're all going to meet in the front of this neighborhood, and I can shout lessons or something, whatever. I don't know how we can put eyeballs on these kids, but there has to be a way to put eyeballs on the kids. That has to happen. There needs to be the thing that they were doing as far as a lot of schools did not receive enough credit for this, but they started serving meals from the schools, like hot meals, to make sure that people could eat, because there are a lot of kids who do not eat outside of going to school. That is a real thing that I've seen. So that needs to happen. There needs to be wraparound services in terms of social services. We need to get those entities more involved, but that's going to require parents to be more open to having those people come in and do those kinds of things. Because the other part that we got to consider is, you got a lot of people like, you're not coming to my house. My house ain't ready for people to come in, so I don't want nobody to come in. But nah, you need that. If this is what it's going to be, also to follow through in terms of using that technology. I know I'll give you St. Stephen Elementary, for example. That was one of the school districts that was Berkeley County is one of those school districts that had the buses that they put the Wi-Fi, the Google buses. They put the Wi-Fi on the buses, and they drove the buses out to the neighborhoods, so that those people in those neighborhoods that wouldn't otherwise have Wi-Fi because it's a rural area, that they would have access to that Wi-Fi. And they give all the kids in the school a laptop. I think every kid in the district got a laptop from Google. Shout out to Google. Sponsor me, Google. I need sponsors. But they gave every school kid in the district a laptop. They give every bus. They give the buses, sent those to the neighborhood so they'd have Wi-Fi, and now those kids can do work. Even with that being the case, there are a large number of kids that still never spent any time on that technology. Now we have to ask ourselves why. Because if the kids are home and the parents are home,
you got a problem. You got a problem. So and that goes that way. Listen, and I always agree with you on that. 100% of the responsibility has to fall on the parents. I can't, as a community activist, you can't, as a teacher and an activist yourself, make somebody's child do something in your house.
Nope.
You're the parent at home. You're going to have to be responsible. One thing I give Sister Ty for, you remember Taisha was screaming it forever. Taisha was screaming it, is that in her community, the buses weren't showing up. The children weren't being fed, and they weren't showing up. And and Taisha was fighting it. She fought it. She was at the school board meeting. She was out there. She led the fight for it. Yeah. And she brought awareness to it. And, and I spoke to some people in Baptist Hill who told me the same thing. Hey, they telling y'all they sending the bus out here for us. We're not getting no bus. You see what I'm saying? So, again, like you said, one of the biggest things, that's a big hazard. And, you've been involved with it, and I've seen it as well. These kids going to school and seeing these teachers, sometimes that's the only safe haven they have. And I don't think people understand, and I know as a teacher, and anyone else watching us right now as a teacher will know, sometimes children will confide in you teachers things they won't tell their parents.
Absolutely.
You see what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And that's real. Anybody can tell you. You'll be shocked when children will go to school and confide in these teachers. And then what they wouldn't tell their own mama. That is dangerous. Like, that is a big thing, especially in rural areas and in high structured poverty areas with a lot of violence. These children, sometimes the only sense of sanity and peace they have is being in that classroom. So it's not the fact that I'm saying, hey, I don't care about these teachers, or well, I got to do it. It's a whole big picture that has to be looked at. And you're right. We need to address what we're going to do. I mean, that goes back to what I said. What makes it so unsafe for everyone else? Now, you're right. In my truck, I don't have to wear a mask. It's just me in the truck. I don't have to. But for instance, my girl Anna works at the post office, right? She goes to, and I spoke to her today. She goes to about 700 mailboxes a day. She interacts with people. People, when they walk out to the mail truck, what are you going to do? Close the window and walk away? You got to deal with it. You know what I'm saying? How many packages she touch and deal with in account, and anyone else who's watching who's a mail carrier can tell you. UPS, FedEx, they have to interact. They have, you're touching and interacting. The same safety precautions that they're giving us, they have to make this work for everybody else. Now, I understand we're dealing with children. I am very sincere and concerned with children. Again, I am a father as well. I have children, and I have children that's going back to school in August. They've been summoned to go. I have to send them back. So, it's not like it's saying, oh, I'm not speaking from the side of a father as well. I'm speaking from the side as an essential worker, but I'm also speaking from the side as a father. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure my child has plenty of hand sanitizer. I'm going to make sure they got masks for days, and all we can do is explain the dangers. Hey, don't get in nobody's face. Don't get too close. Make sure you wash your hands. Keep your mask on and close distance, and we're going to have to, maybe we need to put an assistant help in the classrooms to where if any child starts displaying any sign of sickness, coughing, all that, they got to go home. I mean, hey. So that sounds great. All right, but there goes the reality part. Let's get it.
But let's, again, I always have to come back, and I don't know if it's just a coinky dink that I decided to wear my Sires t-shirt today. But this is the last school I taught at, Sires Elementary. Shout out to the Stingrays. But you got to come back to reality, right? This is the same. This school. Now, look, again, you're talking about, like, I'm not even talking about like high school and middle schools. I'm only right now talking about elementary schools, right? Okay. So you tell a 6-year-old, hey, make sure you keep your mask on.
Oh my God!
Gloves on, sanitize your hands, huh?
Brother, I know.
You got 20 of them bad boys running around. First graders.
Good luck.
You can't even give them a thing of clay and like Play-Doh and be like, yo, don't eat the Play-Doh a lot of times.
Yes, sir.
So when you can't expect that makes it a lot more difficult. And I'm torn because I believe in the power of education and I understand how difficult this is to do remotely. I understand because I know how hard it is to do in person. That personal interaction, you know, they say, you don't know, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. Right? That's a real thing. It's hard to teach somebody out the gate who you haven't built that bond and that relationship with, especially when they're a child, who are in those developmental stages. So this is going to hurt. Like if they don't reopen schools and they don't find a way to do it effectively, it is going to hurt, especially those first 3 years of students. Excuse me, 1 second. The older kids aren't in as much trouble as those younger kids, but those younger kids in those formidable years, that's going to hurt. There's so much brain functioning that is established at that young age it's gonna be hurt. It's gonna hurt them. But getting COVID will hurt them even more. Their bodies aren't built to deal with that kind of thing. Now we haven't had a whole bunch of deaths from COVID from young people yet, but I remember I saw the number from Betsy DeVos, and she was like only 0.02% of people of kids are projected to die due to COVID, and that's like 14,000 kids.
Yeah. Listen, I didn't support. I didn't. That was cruel. And yeah, I've heard that she didn't say that, but I'm seeing a lot that she did. She said, you know, of course, with the Trump administration, as always, it didn't mean that way. So I get it. But
14,000. So how many of the 14,000 do I need to die before I care?
That goes back just to say, like I'm telling you. So what they say, since school went out last year, they haven't had in contact with like 16,000 kids, and that might be a nationwide number. You know what I'm saying? But nationwide, they haven't heard, seen, check in. They don't know what happened.
That's a problem.
16,000. So you see what I'm saying? So it goes both ways. We don't know where these 16,000 kids are. We don't know the situation. Again, I mean, that's major, and we're still talking about the same elementary kids. Mm-hmm. I had the ability, and that I had some elementary kids come stay with me because of a home situation, right? And remember that happened like 2 years ago. I had the kids come stay with me. Yeah. Hold on, man. I got a phone call getting knocking me out. Hold on. All right. I'll be right back.
Cool. Yeah, so thank you everybody who's watching. We're just talking about the issues surrounding COVID. How is COVID going to affect this reopening? And if you're wondering why does Elvin care about this? Well, Elvin cares about this, one, because he's a father. He deals a lot with mentorship and with children. He's also a community activist who does a lot of work around the community. And he's running for the constituent school board in Charleston County, District 10, I believe. So that's the reason why he cares about this issue so much. We're talking about this issue. We disagree, but as you can tell, like we're having a disagreement, an agreeable disagreeing discussion where we are both making our points, but not disrespecting one another because too much of the internet becomes that. Thank you everybody who's watching. Let me take this time to shout out I'll read some of y'all comments. That's what I'll do. I'll read some of your comments while Elvin's coming back. All right, so let's see. Oh, the code word for today. Code word for today is back to school. Back to school. I'll show you how to use it when this is over. Let's see. Daniel Laurie says, as an essential worker myself, I don't feel comfortable putting children at risk. My body can fight off stuff quicker than my children. True. Jennifer Wicker says, let's shut the whole thing down. I agree that essential means expendable. Shut it all down for as long as it takes. All right. We got Jennifer Wicker says, I work at 10 different schools. All right. Thank you, Jennifer Wicker. And thank you for watching, Jennifer Wicker. That's pretty cool of you watching and sharing your thoughts. Elvin, I see you. I'm bringing back in. I'm reading
cool.
What about PE teachers and music teachers that work at 3 different schools and see every student in all 3 schools? That's another thing. You got a lot of teachers that split schools. So you have one teacher who works at, let's use the Meeting Street Academy schools, right? Your student works at their teacher works at the Meeting Street Academy schools. She works at Brentwood. She works at the one downtown. and she works at the one. What's the third one? Because there's like 3 of them, right?
Brentwood, Burns, and downtown.
Brentwood, Burns, downtown. So they work at Brentwood, Burns, and downtown. They're a music teacher at Brentwood, Burns, downtown. They go to school. They find out one of the kids at one of the schools has COVID, right? Now this teacher has gone from school to school to school. Every student that she's come into contact with in that period of time is now potentially affected with COVID. This thing, it cannot last that long. Like, it can't. Let me see. Jennifer Wicker says, why not fight for broadband for all? I do think that that's something we should consider. Is how do we push for and advocate for broadband for all? I do know that when you're talking about infrastructural inputs that need to happen, that's one of them. Our people in rural areas are definitely at a disadvantage in that regard, that they do not have access to the same types of resources in that way. I know that companies like Google have been trying to see what they can do to make sure that happens, but I can't speak too much to it because I'm not a legislator yet. Let's see. Over 1 million meals were provided. Meals will not stop. That's, again, shout out to the school districts. I think they did a great job of making sure that that kids who did not have access to meals did so. Also, shout out to all the local businesses who made it their business. I know I'll use Eggs Up Grill, for example. Every day they serve breakfast and lunch for free to kids. Every day. So shout out to them for that. Let's see. Pastor Dixon had to leave. Love you, Pastor Dixon, always. He says CCSD also provided laptops for all students. Shout out to CCSD. I knew nothing about that. Demetria Stevenson says some parents are not capable of teaching their children. We must know that it's much more than being in the classroom. It's also about having the opportunity to be impacted by others. I agree totally. But I think the teachers did a great job of trying to make the most out of what they had. I will say this as a teacher, and then I'll let you, Elvin, I'll bring you back in there. I think the teachers now have a much better chance of being prepared than they were, because before it was literally writing lesson plans at a frantic speed. Now, I believe that they will be at a lesson plan, a situation where they can better be prepared for what can come and what the possibilities are in regards to making sure that the curriculum is delivered in a much better and more effective way. Elvin.
So everything you said, I agree with everything you said. And, I appreciate Jennifer Wicker. She was right. Is she Charleston County? I assume?
Yeah, she teaches in Charleston County. Yes.
Okay, awesome. So appreciate you. And listen, big advocate for teachers. So I want everybody to know that, to go back what you said, Betsy said 14,000 children may face death, but look at it on the perspective now, we got 16,000 children who we don't know where they're at, right? And also, what I want everybody to understand is, yes, Jennifer is 100% correct. The meals will be delivered, but the meals will be delivered to a location where people have to go to get the food. Well, everyone, in the royal poor areas doesn't have transportation. Yeah. You get what I'm saying? So you still gonna have that small amount of people who are going to be affected, who aren't going to be able to get out there. Those kids, to me, and I want everybody to stand. You know how I go. Rajon, you big advocate on children. I'm passionate about children as well. One child is too much to me. You know what I'm saying? One child is too much. But for me to think that, okay, we got one child out here who couldn't go eat today because his parents don't have a car. We got one child who is not getting an education because his parents live in the country and they don't have a way to get out there. That's just too much to me. Yeah. You see what I'm saying?
So I think for me, that comes to a point that I always, it comes to a point that, because I'm trying to figure out a way to say this, that is smart for me to say it, because it's important that it needs to be said. We have made the role of the school much more than what a school is supposed to be responsible for.
Oh my God, 100% agree. 100% agree.
A lot of the stuff that we're talking about as issues with school closing are not really the school's problem. It's not what schools were intended to do. It's a byproduct of what's happened over time. But when the idea of school, let's think about school when school was created back in, let's say, the late 1800s. the role of school has expanded over time, right? But let's think about school in the 1800s, right? If you went to school, how did you get to school?
God, back in the days, you walked.
You probably
walked. Yeah. Back in 1800s,
you walked to school, regardless of how far from your house that school was.
Yeah, you walked.
You walked to school. Whose job was it to make sure that you got your lesson?
Yeah, well, the parents at home.
Yours and your parents.
Yep, yours and your parents.
Yours and your parents. Whose job was it to make sure? Whose job was it to make sure that you had food?
Hey, the parents. I agree. Listen, brother, I understand, and I've always screamed, especially you as well, being a teacher. Too much more was put on y'all than what you signed up for. You signed up to be a teacher, and now you end up being teacher, parent, guardian. Everything. And I get it, and I totally understand. And me as well. I worked in the schools. I've been in West Ashley Middle School last year. You know what I'm saying? And it was the same way. It was the same way in the middle schools. I signed up to be a basketball coach. I did not sign up to be talking to your child at night about why they shouldn't go beat up. But that wasn't the goal. But it was a role that comes with it.
It's a role that came with it, and it's a role that we expect. It's something that we've come to expect, because at some point we decided, okay, cool, they're here. So while they're here, let's make sure we make it more comfortable for them.
So
but that turned from let's do this to make sure that they're more comfortable to, well, now it's their job. And that's completely unfair to teachers, because of the fact that when we decided that, we didn't also decide, let's make sure that we're compensating them adequately for the things that we're requiring of them. We don't pay teachers to be psychiatrists. We don't pay teachers to make sure that kids are eating. We don't pay teachers to make sure that kids are keeping their hand out their mouth or their foot out from picking their nose. We don't pay teachers. We pay teachers to teach.
Totally agree.
Their salary is commiserate on the fact that we send them to school. And you know what? You know how I know that we don't pay them to do those things? Because when teachers do things that we decide is not their job, when we as parents decide, oh, you can't do that to my child. Huh?
Yeah, it's all good when it's convenient.
We will tell them, oh, you don't love my child enough.
Totally
you don't love. I don't actually, as a teacher, I can love your child, but I'm not paid to love your child. I'm not.
Totally. You teach them. And make sure everybody knows that.
I'm just playing devil's advocate. I love all my students.
Exactly, because you're the teacher who's going to do it. You're the teacher
I did everything,
that's going to do everything. Yeah, you're that teacher.
But I didn't get paid to do it. They didn't say, exactly. Right, because they didn't say, hey, Rajan, you were really good to your students this month. We're going to give you a bonus.
No. And that's one of the number one reasons why so many teachers are leaving the profession. That's one of the number one reasons why so many teachers are leaving the profession, because so much is being sucked out of them, and they're having to work 2 jobs to take care of themselves. And I totally understand that. Totally understand. I agree 100%. I think it's ridiculous. We got, the problem is we have to look at it. We're looking for in the eyes of the child. And of course, everything we do for the child is going to benefit the parent. Right, so it gives some parents a chance to slack off. Some parents need the help, but some parents are going to be allowed to slack off more because the school is picking up the slack. Yeah. But we have to, again, it goes back to that one child. Little Billy can't help the fact that, his parents.
And he can't. And that's the sad part. And that's the part that really sucks. Because it's like, you want to say in a perfect world, a parent should be able to, right? That's not the world that we live in.
Exactly.
Unfortunately, that's not the world that we live in. So even when I say that, like, back to reality, I don't want to live in a world where we don't care how kids eat. I don't want to live in a world that we don't care how kids get their lessons. I don't want to live in a world where kids have to depend on their parents to do X, Y, and Z. I don't want to live in that world. I'm just saying that when education as a construct was created, it was not created to do the things that it does. And now when we're in positions where the people can't do it for the purposes of keeping us safe health-wise, that's like, it's a hard thing to say. What's more important? Is it more important that we get healthy and that we get past this COVID thing, knowing what we're going to be putting people at risk for, or is it more important that we put the risk to happen so that kids can be in a building forever, how long that may last. That's hard.
You know, exactly, because the sacrifice is going to be a loss regardless. It's going to be a loss. Either, like you said, either we're going to take the chance and we're going to put 14, because it's what, 0.02%. So either we're going to take the chance at 0.2 children, or we're going to continue the trend we have already so far with 16,000 kids we don't know where are. And that's a scary thing. There has
to be a conversation surrounding that. I think that point that you're making right there is the piece that has to be figured out. Now, the question is, what do you do when you have that situation? Now, I'll use my former principal, for example, Ms. Blanchard. I use her because she's a great principal.
Okay.
And I think me and her, I saw her at a cookout and we were talking, and she said, I think out of the school, there are 5 kids that they weren't able to make any contact with. But I happen to know they did everything, including going to the house. You know what I mean? Like knocking on doors, like, hey, we haven't heard from Jimmy. Where's Jimmy?
Yeah, and that's awesome.
That's gotta happen. That's the thing that's gotta happen. I happen to know Jennifer Wicker talked about the fact that she took lesson plans and she took food and I know like a few of my son's teachers came by, like they dropped off like care packages and stuff just to say I'm thinking about you. Like that stuff goes a long way. We have to do that. Oh, they said, hold on, wait 1 second. She said school employees are starting to get laid off too. Some got a call on Friday. Again, you have to look at hourly, right? So if you don't go into a building and you have a limited budget, what do you have to do?
Rajon, I'm telling you, man, this is
crazy.
This is where it's like
crazy.
I don't know the answer. I don't know the answer. You know, I understand definitely, like I say, I'm a father as well, and I don't want my children getting sick. I don't want your children getting sick. Right. But you know, it's like I think about it. Well, I know my kids are okay. I know my kids are going to eat. But there's 16,000 kids in the United States right now that we can't account for. That's a scary number.
That's a scary number.
You know, sick, and that's not just, you know, across, and I'm not talking across the seas. I'm talking across the United States.
Right.
There are 16,000 kids that we can't account for. They don't know what happened to this child since they stopped going to school.
Wow.
You know, that's scary.
That is.
That's scary. And if you are a teacher, and one thing I know about teachers, and especially good teachers like yourself, and I've met a lot of good teachers, man, those kids become your family. Those kids, like, you cry overnight over those children.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? If that child's sick, that affects you just like your child was sick.
Yes.
You know? And I got the biggest respect for teachers, because that's a job.
Yeah.
That's a job. And like I said, one of the biggest things I said is this COVID-19 should have shown every school district how important teachers are, because when these parents had to go home and do the job that we said y'all only need $35,000 to do, that should have been a big eye wig. Like, hold on, man, I can't do this. Like I said, brother, and I'll tell anybody, I had to call Rajon to help him, to ask him to help my daughter do math that I didn't understand how to do.
Yeah.
I didn't know, and you know, and she was a sophomore in high school, and I did not know how to do it. I had to call the homie, and Rajon did it with no problem. He did exactly what he does. He taught her. he taught what he did what he does. He taught her. She understood it, and she went on. But everyone doesn't have that kind of connection. So I mean, that's where it's personal to me. It's like, look, that showed me right there how important it is for these kids to be able to see a teacher.
So let's spin that into your run for constituent school board. So
okay.
So how does this like play into like your passion for the field of education? How did that play into your decision to run for the constituent school board? Okay,
so I always want to be to the table when decisions are being made for the kids. You know, and that's basically it. When the decisions are being made for the children, I want to be to the table. I want to have a voice. I want to be there. I want the back door. I want to know everything that's going on step by step. I'm telling you right now, me as on the school board, there would be no more private. Anything that's going on, I'm telling you, I'm posting it, I'm sharing it, I'm talking about it. Anything that's going on to affect our kids, hey, I don't know if y'all heard, and I'm gonna make sure, because a lot of times people get stuff, you know, you're so busy in your life, you didn't hear. But I'm going to be sharing it out. I'm gonna be doing lives with you, just like this right here. Hey, listen, Y'all parents, I need to let y'all know what's coming down the pipeline. This is what they're talking about doing. If you agree or don't agree, get out here, get to this. You know what I'm saying? Those are things that I'm going to do as in a constituent board meeting. Now, on the constituent board, I'm only going to be involved in the West Ashley schools. I'm not going to be on the big board where, you know, where all the big decisions is. But hey, I'm going to be on the board West Ashley. So whatever's going on in West Ashley school, if I get elected, then I'm going to make sure that people understand, know what's going on.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And also one thing that really, I'm gonna say right now. So and one thing that really got me is that on the constituent board, when someone goes in front of the board for expulsion and stuff like that, that is the board you go into. That puts me face to face with this kid. That puts me face to face. Is little Billy a bad kid, or is little Billy got something going on at home that we need to talk about?
Yeah. Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? And I know brothers like you. You get what I'm saying? I know brothers like you. So guess what, little Billy? I don't think you're a bad kid at all. I want you to go meet my homeboy, Rajon. I want you to get part of the Distinguished Gentleman Club. And I want you to get around some positive people, some positive kids. And let's see what your attitude is when we get you out of the atmosphere that you may be facing that's got you acting like this. You know what I'm saying? So I just want to say that right there.
So what would you bring to the table as a constituent school board member that may not be present currently?
So I don't want to knock on anybody's toes because I've got good friends in constituent board.
Absolutely.
I just want to follow up what they got going on. But one thing I'm definitely going to bring is transparency. You know, I'm on Facebook. My number's posted. You know what I'm saying? I'm not hard to reach. I'm not hard to reach at all. You want to know what's going on? You got a problem again. I'm an activist first. So I'm already involved in so many things first. So, you know, hey, Elvin, I got this going on to the school. My child's saying this, or he's being bullied, or whatever the case is. Can we help? Yeah, I can help you. We can go down to that school tomorrow morning. I'll meet you there. Let's find out what's going on. You know what I'm saying? As a constituent board member, let's go find out what's going on. Let's get these two kids together in the room and let's find out what's going on, what we can do to stop this.
Yeah, I love that. I've had some experience with constituent school board. That's such a hard word to say. Constituent school board. I actually had a young man who was in one of my programs that was up for expulsion because he got into a fight, and I got a true appreciation for the constituent school board because of the fact that they allowed me to come in and advocate for the young man. And that's really what this constituent school board is. It's an opportunity for people to hear, for the young man or young lady's case to be heard, and for them to decide whether they can take corrective actions or if it's something that's, you know, far beyond the pale. And they do a great job with that. Your District 10, you said that's West Ashley. So you know, we with what's going on in West Ashley, we're going to talk a little bit about the crime. We're talking about the crime that's going on, especially West Ashley in the North Charleston area. But some kids need a second chance, man, because if they don't get that second chance, they lose all hope.
Yep,
they lose all hope. And when our kids don't have hope, man, that's a sad thing. How do you think you could use your role in the constituent school board if you were elected that would allow you to maybe change some lives?
So I'm already in the community. You know what I'm saying? I'm already in the community. I'm already, you know, a lot of people know who I am. I deal with the kids. I coach sports. You know, I coached basketball last year. So I'm already involved with the community, the kids. So this just gives me another avenue of being able to help. Like I said, being an activist, I know a lot of people at CCSD, and I've been able to talk and work things out with them by a phone call. But you know, again, it's only so far the activists can go. Versus, you know, when the door is closed, I'm on the outside hoping they heed my voice. Yeah. So when the door is closed, being elected, guess what? I'm at the table. So y'all heard me screaming outside. When we get in here, I'm saying the same thing, and now I get to see. You know, we get to see what's going on and still have a voice and an input. And that to me is important.
Yeah, I agree.
Very important.
What do you say to people who may say, you know, activism and politics are not synonymous, and that as someone who's coming to the field of, you know, running for an office, it requires different skills, and maybe you're not suited for that type of position? So
I'm gonna tell you like this right here. I think activism is probably one of the best things, because if you ain't ever been out here on the field, then, you know, that's when you're persuaded and you get tempted by money and whatever thing else. If you don't know what the people need, then how do you go to the table and speak for the people? You know what I'm saying? Stats don't tell you that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Stats gonna tell you that, and I've already shown you. You know where it is. Hey, I have no problem with the media, but the media don't cover everything.
Mm-hmm.
You want to find out what's going on here? You got to get a foot soldier.
Yeah.
You want to find out what's going on? You want to know what's happening? You're gonna have to be a foot soldier. You're gonna have to get on the street and find out. You know, news says that Billy is a bad kid, and Billy got a bad attitude. And he really got a criminal background. Being a foot soldier lets you know that Billy was being abused, and he's lashing out because he's tired of watching him and his mama get beat.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? The media is not going to give you that. Foot soldier gives you that. Being on the streets. You see what I'm saying? And matter of fact, let me give you an example. It's just a quick example. Now, I don't know. Again, I want to let your audience know. I went to Georgia for Martin Marbury, right? And a lot of people at one time were saying that he was jogging in a neighborhood that he didn't belong in. He was jogging, right? So that's what the media was saying. Going in the neighborhood, I went in a neighborhood and I spoke to people who lived in that neighborhood. Discovered, guess what? Not only was he jogging in the neighborhood that he belonged to be in, his family lived in the neighborhood. They knew who he was. And they also told me that he was an avid jogger. He jogged twice a day. He was training. So it wasn't like when they saw him jogging, they didn't know who he was. They knew who he was. You see what I'm saying? That comes from going out in the community and talking to the people who live there to find out.
Yeah. So one of your hopes is to make sure that the stories that are being told about these young people match what the realities are of their lives.
Exactly.
That makes sense.
Exactly.
I can see that.
Find out. I honestly believe I've been coaching, and you've been doing this for a long time with children as well. I've seen, hey, some kids just need help. I got it. You got your mentor with your kids. But I've seen so many children who were considered bad or whatever the case is, and they were just bullied. They were just, they were neglected. They had something going on at home that, they were lashing out. And what I've learned, especially with the children, any attention to a child is attention. And I'm sure you as a teacher and other people know, to a child who is dying and craving and crying out for attention, any attention is attention. So if I'm neglected, if I got to get you to say my name and tell me to sit down and stop, at least you're acknowledging me. You see what I'm saying? So, that's one of the biggest things I learned. And that just came from, I've been coaching since 2006. And a lot of kids, I learned that, man, these kids ain't bad. You just want somebody to notice you. When you want, you're neglected. You don't feel as though anybody cares. So, someone sit down and get big brother to you, and you learn a whole different side. One thing I did, man, I'm telling you, and I'm not gonna brag on myself, but
are you good?
I used to coach basketball, and after the season's over, I can show you the pictures of these kids still to my house after the season's over. I'm taking, we're hanging out. I'm still mentoring. 3-4 years later, they don't even play for me no more. They're in middle school basketball. I'm still with these kids. And one of the biggest stories I want to use is about a kid named JaVale. I coached JaVale when he was 10 years old. JaVale grew up with me. His mom was, she did a great job with him. He grew up with me. He moved to Monk's Corner. Even when he moved to Monk's Corner, we still stayed in contact. When he was 20 years old, he called me. He was at a crossroads in life. 20 years old. He said, he working at a low-end job. And he was like, man, I don't know what I'm going to do, coach. What can I do? I'm tired of these low-end jobs. I'm trying. I'm not, he didn't go to school, and he felt like, man, I'm stuck. And I was able to advise him, well, son, get in the truck. Get in the truck. And he did that. Listen to what I said. Got his CDL. Brother doing great. He's been driving over a year now. He got plans of getting his own truck, starting his own business. You see what I'm saying? This is a kid who I met when he was 10. And he played for me 1 or 2 years, and after that, it wasn't move on, whatever the case is. He became like my son. And we brought him in. You know what I mean? So that's sometimes it
just takes that extra effort. And like you said, that's something we both have experienced in our lives when it comes to mentorship and the impact of it. I definitely think that there needs to be there's a lot of talks about preventative measures to be put inside the schools to make sure that the kids are having access to resources when it comes to mentorship, when it comes to things of that nature that have not been really considered. I do want to say this, and I want to say this on camera. If we believe that something's that valuable, we should probably pay for it. We should probably support the organizations that are in the community that are building these resources, because we have lots of great mentoring organizations in the Low Country that are doing great work. But the problem is that a lot of school districts have the budgets, but when it comes to, hey, we want to come and support your school, but we're gonna be using our time, we're gonna be using our resources, we're gonna have to use our energy. That means we need funding. That means we need support. That means that we need you to invest in us like we're invested in you, because we want to be there. We want to be there. Now, I do see a question. It says, where are the fathers? Where are the fathers?
You know, listen, you know how that goes. You know how that goes. You know how that goes. Somebody, hey, I'm never going to say that all black men ain't fathers, but you got a couple who ain't stepping up. I got a kid, I coached him since he was probably 9, 10 years old. I was there when he graduated high school. I got the pictures of me standing at his high school graduation. I met his father that day. And that boy played for me for 4 years, from 10 to 14, from 10-year-old elementary. And when he got to be 14 years old, I told him, hey, you ready for high school ball?
Yeah.
You ready? Go ahead out. And I still went to his games. I supported him. When he graduated high school, I was in attendance. You know what I'm saying? And that's what the difference is. You know, you do the same thing. And I want to piggyback off what you said, Rajon. I want people to understand this. Rajon takes kids out of state all the time on all kind of events. And he's taking kids that might have never had a chance to see what he's showing them with him. And one of the biggest things that Rajon said that is so correct, South Carolina has a $1.9 billion budget surplus. Why is organizations like Rajon have a GoFundMe? Your organization, Distinguished Gentlemen, is proven. It's proven.
Hold on, pause. I promise y'all I'm not asking to say none of that.
No,
I promise you I didn't ask.
No,
okay,
that's from the heart.
All right,
that's from the heart. Listen, that's from the heart, and that's where I saw you. I remember when you started and walking door to door in the sun, getting people to support. I remember that. So, hey, I can vouch for it, and if anybody ever wanted to contest it, I got the pictures to prove it. I got the pictures. I got the video. I got the live. I was on your live when you was knocking door to door trying to get funding to get your thing off the ground for these kids. I've got plenty of pictures saved because I brag about you all the time where you are taking children. And I talk about no 1, 2. I'm talking 30, 40 kids getting a bus, taking them to places to see colleges, exhibits, museums, history that they may have never seen. But you know what else I remember Rajon doing every school year? Every year, he had to ask for a GoFundMe to get back the school supplies for these kids. South Carolina has a $1.9 billion budget. You have been doing this for years. You are well proven and established. Why do people like you still have to go out here and ask for that? Explain that. You see what I'm saying? That's one of the biggest problems. When I coached West Ashley basketball last year, the middle schools are not funded by the school district. So any middle school sport is just like rec ball. When I coached West Ashley basketball, I had to get a GoFundMe to coach these kids, to get the uniform, the basketball. I had to start a GoFundMe. Here it is, I'm working for kids. I didn't need the money to come to me. They had to send the money to me at all. I would have gladly given them each where I need the money to go so I can get these kids uniforms, shoes, clothes. We did it out of pocket. And we did it, you know what we did, Rajon? And you remember, I did tutoring before basketball practice because school was more important. So every day before a basketball practice, we had 2 hours of tutoring where we sponsored their food because we had to feed them. Yeah. We sponsored. And my good friend, my cousin Brandy at Bucks, she was a tremendous help. She gave us hellified deals. A lot of times she did it for free, but, sent food for these kids to eat every day. I couldn't get a dime. $1.9 billion budget, and I got to go fund it. I'm just going to say it.
You said that. You said that. You said that.
Just going to say it.
You said that. hey,
that's real.
Listen. So I see another question on along the lines of mentorship. So I want to answer this question, and then we're going to move on to the next topic. But April, shout out. Thank you for watching, April. I really appreciate it. She said, I remember that Rajon has come a long way. Question, Rajon, why did you become a mentor? So I became a mentor because somebody had to.
That's it.
I'm not. So I started working. I've been coaching. Like Elvin said, when my son turned 4 years old, I started coaching youth sports. I coached every season that we had until I started mentoring. Until I started my mentoring program. But I coached baseball, soccer, football, t-ball, flag football. I coached every sport, and then my son, my son started doing DGC, and my daughter started playing basketball, and then me and Elvin coached our daughters together in basketball. And through that, I realized a lot of things. One, I realized that as much crap as we give schools for the structure that may not be perfect, to many children, the only structure they have is when they go to school.
That's important.
That's some kids, important. The only time they're told that you can't do whatever you want, you can't just run around and act crazy, you can't just eat chips and soda, or you can't is when they go to school. The only time they're told, some kids, the only time they're told that you can prosper, you have an opportunity, you have an opportunity to be somebody one day, is when they go to school. So in realizing that, I started trying to figure out, well, if this place is doing okay, then what is missing? And what I realized is that those kids are leaving school and going to a community that has nothing for them. So I wanted to work with kids outside of it and try to build those things. And that's what people like Ms. Regia, I see you, Ms. Mujahid, who does, I want to say RBM. She does the dance school, the art school. Places like that are so important. Elvin did the basketball league. Those things are so important. There are so many, how many times, and this is something I remember as a kid, man. And it's something that played into why I decided to become a mentor as well. I remember in my neighborhood when they would tear down our basketball courts and put up tennis courts.
Yep.
They would the one thing we had to do, our basketball courts, they'd tear those down and put up tennis courts. We're going to go out and buy tennis rackets and learn to be the next Arthur Ashe because they put up a tennis court.
So, Rajon, just with you saying that, that's exactly what happened last year at West Ashley Middle School. I was coaching at West Ashley Middle School. I didn't even think about it. Came to find out, so the principal reached out to me and told me, look, we have no one over here coaching basketball. There is no basketball program. Last year, those kids at West Ashley Middle School, which is a majority black middle school, understand that. The basketball lead is called Trident. So here you go. The other West Ashley Middle School is the only majority black middle school in West Ashley. Need to understand it. Everything else is, is mixed, but it's majority white. Not being racist, that's what it is. So all these black kids get to watch all these kids come play in their gym, and they can't play. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So what it is, just like you said, I can sit back and say, man, you know what? Somebody needs to start.
Somebody should do something. Yeah.
or like you say, I can get up and say, you know what? Let me be the guy. And that's how I start. But let me tell you something, Rajon. I tell people, I started a basketball team in 2 days. We had 2 days of tryouts, right? And the principal came to me and she said, listen, if you don't mind, Elvin, she said, I know y'all picked it off of talent. She said, but I got kids who really need this type of mentoring in their life. He said, can we just make it an experiment where we just get them and see if basketball would change their life? Rajon, I'm never going to name no kids, but I had 15 kids. I was down to about 9 when the season ended, right? But I had 15 kids. I probably had 14 kids who were failing when the season started. If we had tryouts by grades, I had 1 kid who would have made the team. Yeah. Of the 14 I had 8 that were getting ready to go face the board for expulsion or alternative school. Yeah. When we stopped the season, I had all my kids passing. I had the same 8 kids who were in trouble getting ready to face the board were getting awards for excellent days. Again, so with the contract we set up for the kids, it wasn't about winning. I didn't care about winning. Tutoring was a mandatory. One of my coaches was a teacher at the school. So I had inside. Tutoring was mandatory. Before practice, 2 hours a day. Practice wasn't to 6. You got at school at 3:30, beating him by 4, tutoring was done, and if you didn't do tutoring, you couldn't play.
Yeah.
If you got in trouble in school, you couldn't play.
Yeah.
And those kids wanted to play. So just because they wanted to play basketball changed a lot. Now, I couldn't save everybody, but I saved 9.
You never can. Yeah.
I saved 9.
Yeah.
Hey.
Yeah.
You know, I'm happy with it.
That's a win. That's a W.
I'm happy. Exactly. So
yeah.
just to show people, but guess what? Imagine we didn't have school. Put that same circumstance right now this year. If these kids can't go to school, if these kids can't compete, then think about that number times 100. How many kids right now go to school only because to play?
Yeah.
They want to compete.
Yeah.
They understand that, hey, I got dreams of playing college ball. I got dreams of going to the pro. So I have to play at this level to make those dreams come true. So I have to go to school and pass to do. How many kids are that? You take that away from them and you kill motivation. I was that kid. I played high school sports. I only went to high school to play.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So you take that away from them. How many kids are we going to lose just on that avenue?
Good question.
You know what I'm saying?
I think you make your strongest point right there. Right there, you just made your strongest point. That was key. So let's spin it forward. Let's keep the conversation going, right? Because now we've had in the last couple of days quite a few murders, shootings, violent crimes in an era, you know, where we are talking about, you know, Black Lives Matter. We're talking about, you know, restorative justice. We're talking about ways to make sure that we're ending racism. But in our own communities right now, and of course, they're two completely different conversations, but I want to make sure that I did point that out. In our own communities, there are young people, you know, shooting and killing one another. What are your thoughts, man? Because you're from like that area, like West Ashley, like, you know, you're from West Ashley, you know, I'm from, you know, my grandma, you know, is from, you know, across the street, across the fence from the gardens. So I know, you know, a lot of the stuff, you know, in that area, you know what I mean? What are your thoughts?
Man, so just, you know, last night we had another killing.
Yeah.
Somebody got killed last night. You know, we got to do something, you know, and like I told you, tomorrow we want to step out, want the leaders of the community to step up and ask for peace. And babe, we've got to do something. To pretend like we don't see what's going on is almost being a hypocrite to me. And see, and what I don't ever want to be is, if somebody get killed by a white cop, we on the streets banging.
We marching, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We marching if somebody get killed. Let these person be getting killed by a white person, and we on the streets marching. We raising hell. We screaming Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter has to mean the same thing across the board. I don't care if it's black, white, whatever the case is. You know what I'm saying? We gotta reach out to these kids and get these kids to realize, look, this is not the way. You know what I'm saying? Like we the elders have got to do it. We got too many elders. And what I want people to understand, Richard, especially if you are an elder or a leader who has been to prison, you are more needed than anyone. You know what I'm saying? I've never done any prison term. So I can tell kids what I imagine prison is going to be. I can tell kids what the stories I've heard of prison. I need someone who has done that to let them kids know, man, you don't want this. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's what we need. We need those who have came out reformed. Then I mean, it's crazy. A lot of these kids, man, and you dealt with them as well, young.
Yeah.
They've made mistakes and they feel as though they don't have no other choice. You know, they feel like they don't have no other choice. I don't know how old the brother was. I think it was a young man who died yesterday. I heard he was young. Heard he was shot on the way back to his house. You know, I don't know how true that is, so don't quote me. But I saw it live. Looked like he was in his driveway. They found him in his driveway. He might have made it home, wherever the case is. So I'm not exactly sure how true that is. No details have been released yet. Yeah. And so, you know, correct me where I'm wrong, anybody. But I know the two kids in the garden were like, what, 18, 17, 18, 19?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, this is ridiculous, man. You know what someone told me? You know, if you got any friends who sell life insurance, tell me if I'm wrong. Someone told me life insurance on me at 42 and fat is cheaper than a young man between 18 and 21, 18 and 25. A young black man at 18 and 25 plays a higher policy in health, life insurance policy. It's higher on a young black man between 18 and 25 for them because the
statistics
probability, probability of them dying is so much higher than me at 42 in fact. That's crazy. Could you imagine that?
I've heard that statistic for like driving, but I've never heard it for life insurance. That's nuts.
Yeah, but, someone told me. You know,
it's crazy. Like I think that's such a sad thing because you have to wonder what makes a child get there. Like I always tell this story. I remember when I was a student, when I was still in college, and of course I went to college as an older man. I was 28 when I went back to college, but I was like 29, 30 years old. I went to visit a local school. I'm not gonna say which school because I don't want to embarrass anybody, but I was at the school and I was going to talk to the kids about going to college. You know, hey, we're gonna go to school. We're gonna amp these kids up about going to college. And I had a group of second and third graders. I'll never forget it. I had a group of second and third graders, and we're at the thing, and it was me and another group of black teachers from the Call Me Mr. program. Shout out to College of Charleston. And we're talking to the kids, and we're like, all right, so you know, where do you guys want to go to college? And they're like, well, we don't know what a college is. I was like, well, what's a college? So we're like, well, you know, once you finish school, you go to another school that, you know, that allows you to, you know, pursue your higher education for your career that you want. They're like, school after school? No, I'm not doing that. Once I graduate from if I graduate from high school, I'm not going to no more school after that. That's it. So we're like, okay, all right, cool. Maybe you're in second, third grade. You don't really care about school right now. It's probably not the dopest thing to you. So it was like, but if you were to go to a school, what school would you go to? And I was like, okay. They're like, well, we don't know the names of any colleges. Like none of the kids in the class could name me one college. They couldn't name me one college. And then, so I was like, okay. So I started naming some. I'm like, have you heard of Clemson University? They're like, no. I was like, have you heard of the College of Charleston? They said, no. Have you heard of University of South Carolina? I said, no. They said, no. I said, you heard of Duke University? No. I said, all right. Well, have you heard of the Gamecocks? And like, oh, the football team. They're like, the football team? Oh, I'm going to play for. I could play. I'm probably going to play for them because I like that team. So I said, well, the guys that go that play for that team are all in college. They're all in college, and they're like, nah, I'm not going to do that. And I was like, if that's what I got to do, then I'm not going to play for them. Wow. I was like, well, you can't go to the NFL if you don't play for that team. So we all realize this conversation is really not going anywhere positive. So we decide to take a break from the conversation and take a break because we had bought like hot dogs or something like that. So we had hot dogs. We pull the hot dogs out and we're sitting there eating. And so the kids start talking to each other. And the kids are like, yo, you ever seen the movie Scarface?
Second graders. You couldn't mention one college, but you could tell me about the movie Scarface. But guess what? Not only did that second grader know it, they all had seen it. You can't name one college. You can't name one college, but you can tell me about a movie that came out in the year 1981 that is probably one of the most debaucherous movies that's ever been created. And again, you wonder why these kids got to go to school.
And you wonder why kids are shooting each other.
Yeah, and that goes back to the point. Wonder why these kids got to go to school. Because imagine these same kids, if you take them same kids in these terms this year and they only staying home, where they going to learn it from? If home ain't teaching them no better, where else they going to get it from?
And that's not to say that, all homes are doing a terrible job because, mothers and fathers out here, y'all doing y'all thing, y'all doing y'all best, what you got. But what we have to realize, man, is that we're putting our kids at a disadvantage in a lot of different ways, man. Like we can't continue. We cannot. And that's the stuff that frustrates me is when I know as a teacher, because I know teachers, people, again, I want to make sure I go hard on this point. People don't think teachers care. These teachers care. You don't get into the field of education for the money.
No, hell no.
You don't get into it. You don't. You don't get into it for summers off.
You have to love kids.
You get into this because you love what you do. Now, it's very possible that you get into it and you lose a love for it and you don't know how to do anything else. So you decide to stick with it, which is another problem for another day that we can definitely discuss, because there are definitely teachers who need to walk away from the profession. I will say that as well. But you get into the field of education because you love these kids, and because you really want to see them grow and blossom into becoming productive citizens in this here world. But when we send the kids, I'm gonna give you one more story. So my principal tells this story at faculty meetings a lot, and I love this story because it really tells the story of what teachers deal with, right? So the superintendent went to he took his top teachers to a winery, right? And they were like, okay, cool. He's like, well, tell us about how you make wine. They're like, okay, cool. Well, we take the grapes and, we crush them, and we crush them, and we crush them, we process them until we get the finest wine. And they said, okay, they said, we get rid of the bruised ones. We get rid of the ones that, are a little expired, the ones that are old. And we get rid of all those ones. We take the finest and freshest grapes. Right. And then we crush them. We add what we need to add. And then voila, we have this perfect wine. Taste this wine. Isn't it delicious? And they're like, yeah, this wine is delicious. And then he thought about it as a superintendent. He said, how can I do that? Because I can't take out the kids who are damaged. I can't take out the kids that are bruised. I can't take out the kids who don't want to be here. I can't take out the kids who have struggles at home. I can't take out the kids who don't get enough food at night. I can't take out the kid who has to stay up and watch the kids so that mom can work. I can't take out the kid who's being domestically dealing with sexual abuse at home. I can't take out those kids. I have to teach everybody. Regardless of what. And they send us the best that they have. So what we do as a society is we take people who are making the most out of the best that they are given, and then we say, it's your fault. It's your fault, teacher, that my child is failing. It's your fault, teacher, principal, that my child doesn't like school. It's your fault. And what we have to realize is that we all have a role to play in this thing.
Yep. So let me ask you a question. I'm gonna ask a question, and I hope I said her name right. Raja
Mujahid.
No, I want to get Rahim. I want to give her a shout out because I see she's been teaching, and big shout out to her.
Yeah, big shout out.
Love all teachers. So this is the question, right? And I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna roll. I'm gonna keep watching and listening, but I'm gonna roll and yeah. Let's say we don't open school back up, right? You're talking elementary kids. The kids that are behind this year, when do we catch them up? Do you see what I'm saying? When do you catch them up? Because next year, that 8-year-old is still 9. And the last time that he went to school, when he was 6, 6 and 7 in the first grade, he didn't get a good education because he had to learn online. He didn't get the teacher one-on-one. He didn't learn it. Now next year, school them back up. Miraculously, let's say they find a vaccine for the virus, school them back up. What about the kids who didn't do well on the online learning? Those same kids have to go back to school next year. How do we catch them back up? I believe I read somewhere a statistic says that if a child was behind 1 year, it takes almost 3 years to get him caught back up to the 1 year he's behind.
What I'll say is this, and then we can wrap this. Whatever they decide to do to correct this is going to piss somebody off. Yes. Big time. Because what's going to end up happening, because of the way this thing is setting up, they're going to have to take a serious look at year-round school.
Yeah. They're
going to have to take a serious look at year-round school.
That's the only way. It's the
only way. And you talk about a teacher shortage now? Year-round school?
No, or they will have to spend some money. You have to give these teachers what they deserve. You're gonna have to give these teachers what they deserve. Let me tell you,
that's what's gonna have to be the trade-off. That's gonna have to be the trade-off.
I'm gonna say this quick story, and I'm out. I promise. That's just it.
Yeah.
My son, before he got his CDL, because my son drives truck as well. When my son first came into the truck industry, he came in with me as a helper. All he did was he got out, opened the gates, whatever trash fell, he took. He was a helper. My son made that year, being a helper, $44,000. $44,000 that year as a trash helper. You know what was required to be a trash helper? 2 legs and 2 arms. You didn't have to finish high school, nothing. All he had to do was pass a background test and a background and piss test. That's all he had. Now, I said that because the starting salary for teachers is $40,000 a year. Think about that. Think about that. The starting salary for teachers is $40,000. What do you have to be a teacher? You tell me, what's the requirement to be a teacher?
You need a bachelor's degree and you need a teaching certification. You need a 4-year degree and a teaching certification. Yeah.
My son worked Monday through Friday. He was off by 3 o'clock every day. He was an assistant helper. I think he was making $16, $17 an hour as an assistant helper. He was making overtime. Okay, so he made overtime. That year, he made $44,000 that year. He was 19. So I think about it, teachers' starting salary with a college degree is 40.
Yeah.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Why?
But I think that there's a discussion needs to be had, and I know we need to wrap, but there's a discussion needs to be had about how do we make sure that young people that may be in these situations where they do feel hopeless understand like jobs like that exist. Like we look down on people like custodians and people who do drive dump trucks and like these are opportunities that are really out there for you, guy who didn't graduate.
Yep.
And you can make good money.
Yep.
Shoot, my little brother, he started out as a school custodian, and now he has his own custodial business. He does businesses. He makes his own LLC. Like he out here, and now all those contracts he was getting for other people, he's getting for himself.
Yep. Don't feel sorry for him.
So I mean, that's something, man. That's something, bro. But I want to thank you for coming on. I want to let you get your parting shots off for before we end the interview about your constituency. Again about the Stop the Violence press conference and anything else that you want to say, and let them know where they can find you. So, all right, anyone, I'm Elvin Speights, Elvin L. Speights Senior on Facebook. I am running for constituent board, West Ashley D10. My name will be on the ballot. Please, I appreciate all your support. I need all your support to get there. Tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock, Lockwood. Hopefully the brother Rajon will come as well. I'm asking for all the leaders to come out there. We're going to stand up and we're going to listen. We had 7 people shot in West Ashley. I believe 4 dead, 3 to 4 dead, 7 people shot in 2 days. We've got to respond. You know what I'm saying? We're not going to just always respond when a black person is killed by a white or a cop, and now we're screaming Black Lives Matter. No, we're screaming Black Lives Matter when it's us doing the killing as well. You see what I'm saying? So we're going to be out there tomorrow. We're going to be asking the community to step up. We're going to be asking for the peace, put the guns down, and just try. We have to do something. Like Rajon said, the biggest thing Rajon said, you can either be the person saying, man, somebody got to do something, or you can be the person saying, okay, I'm going to do it. Yeah. That's just it. Yeah. That's it. Those are choices. Pick a choice. You can look at the news. You can see all the black kids dying. You can see the young kids dying. You can see what's going on out here. And you can be the person saying, somebody got to do something. Or you can be the guy saying, hey, I'm going to do it. Absolutely. Where can they find you? What we choose to. Like I said, right here on Facebook, Elvin Speights, Elvin L. Speights Senior on Facebook. My page is public. You put it in, it'll pop up. Yeah. Picture of me sitting on a statue of an elephant. Statue of an elephant. All right, bro. Well, I appreciate you, man. I'm gonna let you get out of here. Thank you so much for joining me. I support you. I love you, man. And tell the kids what's up. Yes, sir. Yes, much love, brother. All right, I'm gonna give that applause again. Elvin. Oh yeah. All right, man. Well, thank y'all. Yes. Well, thank y'all so much for watching, man. This is gonna conclude tonight's show. It went a little longer than I planned on it going, but as you can tell, There was some stuff that really needed to be talked about. I really, I really take pride in the fact that, we are attacking these issues that are so important and so prevalent. I want to make sure that I once again shout out my sponsors. Thank you to sciencetoc.com. If your business is struggling or you need any of custom design needs, business cards, t-shirts, banners, card decals, and magnets, you can find all that and more at sciencetoc.com. Today's promo code, we're actually doing giveaways. We'll be doing a giveaway. So the promo code for today is back to the number 2 school. Back to the number 2 school. All right. So make sure you do that. And if you want to place an order, remember that. And if you want to place an order for anything on sciencetoc.com, you want to go to www.sciencetoc.com and use the promo code buy black. And if you are looking to start a career in cybersecurity, please visit www.cyberprepu.as.me. They have people who are specialized in IT specialties and they're certified to help you to start a career in cybersecurity today. You want to visit www.cyberprepu.as.me. And with that being said, let's close this show. Thank you, everybody, who watched tonight, man. Like I said, it went a little bit longer than I planned on it going, but these are very important discussions, and I want to thank you for watching. You didn't have to, but you did, and it means a lot to me. Wednesday night, I actually am doing a local celebrity spotlight with a personal mentor of mine, Mr. Patrick Patterson. He is the president of Global Partners for Fathers and Families. We're going to be talking about fatherhood tonight. We talked about the importance of fatherhood. We talked about the importance of having mentors and fathers around, and that's something we're definitely going to get into. So make sure you tune in on Wednesday night at 7 p.m. where we will be live talking about that. If you are doing something in the community that you would like a light shined on, please reach out to me on my website. That's www.realtalkwithrajon.com so we can discuss getting you on the show. This and all my shows, in addition to the Car Chronicle series, is now available for your listening pleasure via Apple, Google, Spotify, and any place you can find podcasts. You can also find it on my website. That's www.realtalkwithrajon.com. If you'd like to be made aware of when I go live, because sometimes it is unscheduled, please be sure to click the follow or subscribe tab on the page and turn on the notifications so that you will know when something new has been posted to the page. In the meantime, follow me on social media to stay up to date on what's happening with Real Talk with Rajon. Anywhere you go, type in Real Talk Rajon and I will pop up. Feel free to leave comments, questions, whatever else you'd like to say in the comment section or the message section. I love reading your messages and getting your feedback, even if it's negative. Why? Because I do not seek to be told how great I am, but to become as great as I can possibly be, and that only happens through honest feedback. If you watched and you loved, or you listened and you loved it, please leave a 5-star review on my podcast or leave a review on my YouTube or Facebook page. If you didn't like it, you can leave a review there as well, because it's important that I hear both sides of it. I am also currently accepting invitations for speaking engagements and event hosting opportunities. If you would like for me to speak at or host your event, you can request me via my website. That's www.realtalkwithrajon.com. In closing, thank you to Elvin Speights for coming on. I really appreciate everything that he had to share tonight. And in closing, remember that God is everything, and without him, we are nothing, so never forget where your help comes from. And if a man doesn't stand for something, he's bound to fall for anything. Now that is real talk. I will see y'all on Wednesday night. Peace.